Hello, everyone. Good evening from Stockport. We're a bit early today. It was 5 minutes till 7 in the evening here in the UK, which means it's 5 minutes till 3 o'clock in the morning in Manila. Welcome to another episode of Ask the Drummer. I hope some of you, my dear friends in Manila, I mean, I'm not hoping that you're still up for it, but for the podcast. But if you're already asleep, and you can always catch up on the Ask the Drummer YouTube channel because we always make sure that the episode is uploaded soon after it's finished. So so welcome to another episode of Ask the Drummer. I was actually the reason why we're doing this in the evening is because I was at the record fair in Liverpool today, which is absolutely amazing. I like going to Liverpool. I meet lots of amazing people, Liverpoolians from there, including Skinny. I think if you're a musician, especially from Liverpool, you know who Skinny is. He's such a legend. But it's just so happens that exactly 10 years to the day, like 10 years ago, I met Skinny. He's Michael Head here. There you go. Michael Head's guitar tech. And that was the first time I saw Mick Head live in Manchester. And it was just him and Skinny. No band or anything. And he was there. And I was so glad to see him. And I told them that I met him 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago today. And I also met some other lovely Liverpoolians. One of them actually is a friend of Mick Head and John Head. His name is Simon, and he's amazing. And another one is a friend of an incredible drummer, Joe McCackney, that we had on the show. I think he's called Paul the Postie. That's what he said. That's what he told me, anyways. So I do love Liverpool, and I think our guest loves Liverpool too. Because speaking of Liverpool, it's where I saw her and their band supporting Bow Wow Wow at the Cavern Club. And I was so happy that she said yes to guesting on the show. And she's here now. My dear friends, please welcome Amy Devine. Yay!
Hello. Hi, hi, Anne. Are you all right?
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, good. Not too bad, thanks. Thanks for having me on. Really,
Oh,
really appreciate it.
thank you for saying yes to Ask the Drummer. And you love Liverpool as well, don't you?
Very much. Liverpool's amazing. Yeah, and you just, sounds like you had a great time. There recently today. Yeah, it
The
sounds
record
like
fair, yeah.
yeah, sounds amazing. Yeah, we really enjoyed ourselves playing at the
Yeah.
Cavern. We loved the Beatles memorabilia, and very excited to see the Cilla Black statue as well. My sister and I, obviously Kerry, who's the lead singer of the Baby Seals, we're sisters, and we used to watch Blind Date with our nan and granddad on a Saturday night, way back in the day, when Cilla Black hosted it. Yeah,
Laura.
Yeah,
That's
Laura and
Laura.
she was amazing. Yeah, that and Generation Game with Rosemary Ford and Brucey.
I think did you have a photo with Scylla and also John Lennon?
Yes, we did. We got photos with Scylla and John Lennon, and some of the guitars as well. You know, the Rolling Stones guitars and the what's it called? The bass that Paul McCartney uses. Is it Hofner? Is it Hofner? Hofner? Or, yeah, I'm not a bass player. Kate would know, but yeah. Whatever. I was going to call it a Hefner then, but I'm thinking of that other guy, the Playboy bunny man.
Oh,
Getting the two things muddled up. Hugh Hefner. That's what I'm thinking of. Very different.
let's just say Paul McCartney's bass guitar, though.
Yeah, that could be a new rumor started. It was Hugh Hefner's bass that. Oh, yeah, no.
How have you been since the tour? Because you toured with Bow Wow Wow. It wasn't just a Liverpool gig, was it? It's the whole tour.
That's right. It was the whole. Yes, it was. Well, we did it. We split it with another band because some of the gigs were really far away, and Kerry has a young son. So she didn't want to. Before, years gone by, we could have gone for like a whole month and it would have been fine. But I think it's difficult, when you've got children. So we did quite a few dates with Bow Wow Wow, and it was lovely. We had a good time with them. They're a very cool band, and
Yeah,
yeah, we played that, and Liverpool was one of them.
that's right. Yeah,
Um, yeah, it was good
that's where
fun.
I saw you. That's where I saw you in Liverpool.
Yes, yeah, 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 yeah. It was. We loved the cat. Actually, out of all of them, I mean, we played some lovely venues. Really nice. Sort of 1,500 venue, and the when you get to kind of that level, and you've got like light technicians and all of that kind of thing going on. It's really lovely. But the Cavern Club was very. It was kind of what we're used to in terms of venue and the
Yeah,
size, and but it had a real special something for us all because we're all huge Beatles fans. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and my dad, especially, my dad is a huge, my mum, huge Beatles fans, massive, have all their albums, all books. And so we did a special tour thing with them, and yeah, like on the phone. But of course, you can't get a proper signal downstairs, so yes, it cut off.
So they didn't go. They weren't at the Cavern Club when you played.
No,
No.
no, it was a bit far. They were thinking about coming, but it's quite a long trip, and we didn't stay over. We went there, played, watched Bow Wow Wow, and then came home again. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was gonna ask for photos with the band, but then you weren't there anymore. It was just Arabella and
Yeah, yeah. I actually say that, Lucy. We watched probably three songs of Bow Wow because we really loved Bow Wow Wow, and we loved their set. It was so energetic, and like the
yeah.
music, the musicians in the band. Like I love John's drumming, like so
Oh, Mr. John.
really
Yes. Yeah.
brilliant sort of drumming that he does, and just so cool. And he a couple of times actually when we were backstage, he'd come in and I would be doing my warm ups, and he'd come and sit and do a few as well and show me a few different things with them, and it was really nice. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's an educator when he's not on tour. um so yeah, but it was so yeah, so we watched three of their songs, I think maybe three or four, and then left because of
And then you
the
left.
travel back. Yeah, yeah.
Well, hopefully I'll catch you again next time, and I could ask a photo with you and the band. So,
Of course, we'd love that. Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah.
okay. Well,
um,
welcome to Past the Drummer. Episode 197 is all about you, Amy Devine, which is a
oh,
lovely name. It's
thank you.
it's your real name, right? Amy Devine.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
it's real name. Amy, but Jane's my middle name, so I sometimes do Amy Jane, and especially on social media because I'm a teacher, and sometimes the students try and befriend you, but it's not really ethical when they're
Yeah.
young to
Yeah.
but yeah, so I go by the name of Amy Jane on socials,
On
but
social
yeah,
media.
Amy Divine is my real name. Yeah.
I know a couple, Divine, and they're Scottish, but actually, John and Angela. Angela is originally from Liverpool, but they live in Glasgow now, I think, or somewhere near Glasgow.
I wonder if they
Um,
came over from Ireland because it's sort of an Irish name, I think. My family, I think that's where it originated from with us, I think, from Ireland, Divine. I think it's an Irish name, I'm not sure.
oh, right. But you're not from Ireland, though. I think you're from Cambridge, right? The
Yeah,
Divine.
I'm
Yeah.
British, born in Britain, but I think I can't remember which side of our family. I think it might be my granddad's side, or because they sort of go back the East End. All my family from the East End, but before that, perhaps maybe I think I'm sure I've read somewhere in like files or family things that you read, that we've
Yeah,
got
yeah,
family, from somewhere around there. But yeah.
yeah. Well, Aiden said that sound and picture good. Aiden is my tech support, so he always like makes sure to let us know that everything's fine. So
Oh,
thank
good.
you
That's
for that.
good.
Yeah, yeah. What I like doing, when I find out where the musicians are or where the drummer is from, I always Google the famous musicians from that place. Because you're from Cambridge, and I didn't know this. I think I've only been to Cambridge once, but I didn't know this. But Pink Floyd and Nick Drake, they're from Cambridge.
They are. Yeah, Tim Key is from just up the road, Histon, the comedian. He's not a musician, but he's a famous, great comedian, Tim Key. But yeah, Pink Floyd. There's been quite a few. Yeah, Sid Barrett. There's a house. I
Yeah,
think in Macadam Mill Road with a blue plaque that Sid Barrett briefly lived at.
Yeah.
And they sold his bike, of course. His bike was sold at auction after he died. I don't know how much it went for, but yeah, yeah. There's quite a few people that have either studied here or that maybe wasn't from here but came to study and then formed bands.
Yeah, yeah,
Mitchell and Webb, I think, did the Footlights here. Stephen Fry, people like that, I think, all kind of sort of drifted through.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Well, the reason why I'm fascinated with it is because I'm originally from the Philippines, and I used to read smash hits. I don't know if you remember
Oh,
Smash Hits
I
magazine,
do.
but
I do
yeah,
remember Smash Hit magazine. Yeah.
like, I remember one time they featured like a map of the UK, and they've got all like famous musicians and bands from all over the UK, and that's where I found out about EMF from Forest of Dean. I've never heard of Forest of Dean before until EMF, and that's how it's all like Manchester bands or Liverpool bands and Glasgow bands, but Forest of Dean. It was like, where's that?
Yeah. You say they always say you can't learn anything from magazines, and of course you can. There's so much you can learn from them.
I do. Well, I'm gonna ask you first. What was Cambridge like when you were growing up, especially the music scene? Now that I found out that there's Pink Floyd and Nick Cave, but what was it like when it was your generation when you
It's
growing up in
it's a
Cambridge?
it's a very funny place, Cambridge, really, actually, considering so many people like come from here and are musical and are artistic, and it's always been a very funny fish of a city to kind of promote or to put show, to play. There's a
Yeah.
few pubs. Sadly, over the years, quite a few of them have shut because either people complain about the noise or because the university actually owns most of Cambridge and fees and things like that. So a lot of independent places, I think, find it very difficult. And it's always been it was never. I think there was quite a few sort of places back in the day, like the Blue Moon, but that's all kind of been revamped now. And there was other places. Just trying to remember the names of them. It was called the Man on the Moon, actually, not the Blue Moon. It was called the Man on the Moon when I was growing up, and it was this
Oh,
very dark, dingy little pub. But now it's sort of been revamped, and the Portland was also quite dark and dingy, but that's now been revamped and all of that. And there was quite a few play. The Boat Race was a big pub that people. So it was kind of, in one way, there were certain pockets that were thriving.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like somewhere like London or like maybe Liverpool or Manchester, where you had more kind of, because obviously Cambridge is a very small city as well. So, and it's sort of owned by a lot of academic kind of culture and
Yeah, yeah.
money, and the two worlds don't really they don't collide all that well. So, like, you'd get a lot of people complaining
Oh,
about pub noise, or
yeah,
residents that live that were kind of wealthy enough to live in those areas and would complain and then complain and complain, and then the pub would be shut. So
yeah.
it's always been a very funny place to put gigs on, I think. And I think it was probably a little easier back in the day because my dad was in a band. He was in a band called Colonel Gomez, and they used to have like Battle of the Bands at the Corn Exchange and the Junction and places like that. And I think I think because of money and sort of trying to make enough to kind of survive. I think they have to prioritize bigger gigs that make the
Oh,
money. I think I'm just guessing, because you
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of get the smaller gigs sometimes happening maybe once a month, but it's not that regular.
yeah.
And I think the people at those places are doing all they can to try and keep the kind of local music and that kind of going, but I think it must be very tough, in
Did you
this climate especially.
yeah,
Sorry.
did you go to a lot of gigs when you were young, or
We did.
um
Kerry and I lived in a village, so we were born in Ely, but we are from because it's Ely, Cambridge, Hadnam, where we grew up, is all very close. So saying we're from Cambridge is not incorrect, because we spent a lot of time in Cambridge as well. But we lived in a village, so obviously when you're 15, 16, we'd do a lot of music together, and then usually perform at like family events.
oh,
And
okay,
then
yeah.
it wasn't until we kind of got to 17 and got a driving license, that we actually then ventured out into getting into more. sort of venue type places.
Yeah,
And
more venues.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's I think a lot of kids, I don't know, even now, maybe back when I was growing up, probably would agree. When you lived in a village, it was trickier, and the times you could get to Cambridge to see a gig, then the local it's all kind of local amenities, facilities, and money that's against a lot of people. Like with places like London, where you got tubes and buses going all the time. When the
Yeah.
last bus back is like 9:30 at night, you know. So
And so it's starting,
yeah,
just starting the gig at 9 o'clock, and then we're at 2
yeah,
p.m.
yeah.
at the bus.
Exactly. So when my friends and I, when we all sort of got to driving age, where we could get a car, got a car and got a license and could drive, then that's when we kind of really started venturing to like venues and things like that. But even then, that's what 20 years ago. It was still, there wasn't like many places. There was just sort of
Ah,
small pockets of music venues, and I think it's always kind of been like that. I mean, I could be wrong, but I
yeah,
think
yeah,
I think it has always been a bit like that in Cambridge, because I would say it's a university, place, an academic science
yeah, yeah.
kind of more sort of yeah, and it's always been like that. So yeah, it's I
Right.
think it's tough for venues, and I take my hat off to all the venues at the moment that are still about, because
Good
they're
stuff.
doing, I think, all they can to stay open, and it's hard.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you mentioned your dad, because when I was googling, the baby seals and yourself, I came across that one, which is your dad's band is called Colonel Gomez, and apparently there's a YouTube video. So I searched for it. Can, I hope you don't mind me asking. Is he the one? Is he the singer?
He's the singer.
He's the
Yeah.
one who's topless. Who's not? And he's
He
got
was
balloon.
he,
It's-
That's amazing. I'm really glad you looked for that video and you watched it. I'm glad you found it funny as well, because that caused a real stir when that was aired live. That was on the old grey whistle test,
yeah,
and that
all good.
caused a huge. He was the most talked about man in Britain for one day. And I was, my sister wasn't born when that happened. I was a baby, and my mum said there was paparazzi coming to the house all day long, because he was said to have exposed himself on telly, not live telly, but on telly. And of course, it was scheduled to go out before the watershed, which, for those of
Yeah.
you who don't know what that is, it's obviously before a certain time when sensitive material, shall we say, like that could be viewed by children, wasn't allowed to go out. But yeah, I think it's probably still the same. But he didn't expose himself, just to say.
Well, it's good because all grey whistle test was mentioned. I went to see the Down Q&A
Yeah.
in Liverpool again last night, and it
Wow.
was mentioned, the old grey whistle test, because apparently Whispering Bob Harris,
Yeah.
he liked all sorts of music except punk. He's, he,
Yeah. That sounds about right.
but your dad's band, Captain Gomez, actually went on the old grey whistle test
They
show.
did that was actually what was just saying a minute ago. The Battle of the Bands in Cambridge. That was yeah. They got down. They didn't win, but they got down to the final. They got down to the final. But they
Yeah,
won the crowd appreciation whatever medal. I don't know, trophy. I'm not sure, but because the crowd loved them. The crowd was going
yeah,
crazy. They did the song "Shaking All Over." I think I can't
that's
remember who
right.
did
Yeah,
that
that's
song.
the one. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
all
But
over.
yeah, of course, it was like a Cox's apple that he had. So he put it down his trousers and he squeezed it, and a big balloon came out, and that's what it was. You see, and a lot of people thought that he had exposed himself, but when if you if you're watching this and you go and watch the video, you'll see that it looks nothing like you know what people thought it looked like. It's just a great big giant balloon that
So how long did your dad's band last after that performance?
Oh gosh, they did. How long did they play for? They played for years. My uncle Brian sadly passed away last year. He was
Oh,
the guitarist. Thank you. Yeah, he had acute leukemia,
oh,
and
so
he sadly died last March. So it'd be coming up for a year now. But he was the guitarist in Colonel Gomez, and he had the Devil's Ears, and and kind of was was that. And so they were even doing gigs up until like a couple of years ago. They do like sporadic gigs,
Oh,
for if people wanted them to play. And of course now he's passed away. I think they haven't. I think it must be very difficult. Not just losing a brother, but losing a bandmate as well.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's
yeah.
very much a family affair because I do believe the drummer is also your uncle. Is that right?
Yes, yes, Uncle Mitch. So we he actually gave me my first few drumming lessons, Uncle
Cool.
Mitch.
Yeah,
And what
yeah.
I was about 15 years old, and what he lived in the next village, so he lived in Wilburton, and in the summer holidays he used to leave a key under the pot for me, and I'd walk because I didn't have a driving license, so it's about 4 miles or something. So I'd walk all the 4 miles to his house, and then
Wow.
drum all day, and then like walk back home in the evening. So yeah, so he was really lovely. He had a drum kit all set up in his hat, because he had like a little cottage.
Yeah,
And so I do that while him and his wife were at work. And yeah, and it was like, yeah, and he taught me. He was a massive Ginger Baker fan. Um, and Jimi Hendrix experience, like Mitch Mitchell, he really loved, and well, he still does. So yeah, but he taught me like paradiddles. He said to me, you got to do your paradiddles and your double stroke rolls and 6-stroke rolls. He was very like rudiment based.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so that was nice. Yeah. So yeah, so yeah,
He's the
he's a
one.
very
Yeah, he's the one who got you into drumming.
yeah. Basically, I remember the person, I have to say, I first saw them on the drum kit and thought, oh my god, I really want to do that. Was Caroline Core from the Cause? Do you remember the Cause?
Yeah,
The Irish band. And I remember they were doing a big concert at Wembley, and it was on telly, and I remember it was sort of near Christmas time, and it was all and it anyway, and I was watching the concert, and I remember they kept flashing up to Caroline, and she just looked amazing. She was just incredible. Like, she had such power, and like she just loved it. You could tell she like absolutely loved what she did, and she made it look so fun and so cool. And I remember watching it thinking, I want to do that. And out of everybody in the band, I just thought, that's what I want to do. And then I spoke to my Uncle Mitch and said, Uncle Mitch, can you help me? And he said, oh yeah, sure. And he like, yeah. So then he really
yeah,
gave me my first few like good few lessons, and taught me all about just that sort of thing, the rudiments, the how to hit them, what to hit, when to hit them, that sort of thing.
So, have you been to a gig by the Course? Have you seen them live?
No, never, never. I've never seen. I kind of they were kind of they peaked just as I got into them. I think they sort of
Yeah,
had their second album out, and then they had their third album, and that's the one they were touring when I watched them on telly. And then after that, they kind of sort of not they didn't go downhill, but they a band sometimes can peak, and then
yeah,
they kind of go off grid. And I think perhaps what happened, maybe they had kids, perhaps they got settled down, had kids, and just sort of maybe
yeah,
the promotion kind of went a bit dry. I don't know really, but I remember after that they kind of, so I didn't ever get to see them live.
yeah. Because
Um,
they played, I think, 2 years ago or something. Because I think they went to the Philippines as well.
They yeah, well, I think they do still tour. I think now their kids probably a bit older. I think I've seen them supporting Natalie and Brulia out of
Yeah,
a bit of a blast in the past. I'm not sure. Anyway, but yeah, so I wasn't into Natalie and Brulia, sadly. So I don't know if I, but yeah, I mean, if an opportunity came up, I'd totally go and see them. But they're
yeah,
still, I think it served, that music served me for a time, and then I kind of got into other things. Like from the Cause, I kind of really got into Thin Lizzy. I kind of explored the Irish sort of,
yeah,
and I love Brian Downey, the drummer in Thin Lizzy, and I got
yeah,
into their drumming and their songs, and that kind of thing. And then another band I kind of went towards was, I quite like Sinead O'Connor, so I listened to her music, and sort of, so I kind of went away from the Cause, although they will always have a special place in my heart, because she was the first person I saw that I thought, wow, you're
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you this because the ratio of male to female drummers is still not 1-to-1. I think there are more female drummers nowadays than
Yeah,
ever. But yeah, it's still, there's probably like 10 male drummers to one female. I'm not checked. I've not googled the ratio yet, but the what do you think of that? Do you think there should be more of female drummers? Although I don't really want to sort of like separate them, because drummers are drummers. It doesn't really matter whether it's male or female drummers. But it's always nice to see like
I
girl
think
drummers or female
I think
drummers.
I think you're absolutely right. I completely agree with you. It's like if on the one hand you think a drummer's a drummer, but
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
you're right. You're right, because when there's a reason, I always think it's a bit like what's the source of it? And actually, if the reason is because a lot of women are put off, like when people say, "Oh, you don't ever see a girl mechanics," women mechanics. And then people say, well,
yeah,
it doesn't really matter. But then when you look at and they've actually done this, they've looked at the reasons why women don't go for those jobs. And it's not because they're not interested in those jobs. It's because of the male camaraderie between the men. And actually I've worked in a college and I've seen it firsthand when you get like the older kind of tutors teaching young boys, and they're using kind of homophobic language, misogynistic language, and
yeah,
and that's being passed down, and then you get this other generation, and it's like it just sort of stays in that cycle. It doesn't ever get broken, and then you get women who I mean, I've seen it again. This where you get a couple of girls join that course and then they end it. They say, "I don't want to do that anymore," because they've been made to feel quite uncomfortable. So I
um,
think it's like, I know I went off on a tangent there, but what I mean is that for those people who say, "Oh, it doesn't matter, a mechanic's a mechanic." Well, yeah, in one way it doesn't matter, but when you look at why, then actually there's a problem, and it's the same with
yeah,
it's the same with drumming. People say about female drummers, male drummers, a drummer's a drummer, but then when you look at why women are put off, maybe, or don't feel empowered or inspired to do
yeah,
music,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
look at why that might be, I think you're right, it's getting better, but there's still a hell of a lot of misogyny, like in and it's even microaggression misogyny. It's not even, oh, you're a woman, what are you doing? It's not that. It's just little things that happen, and it's happened to us as a band, and it's happened to people that I know. And
yeah, yeah,
it's even things like you couldn't tell a man about it because they all not sorry, that sounds very generalized. Some men you couldn't tell them because they wouldn't understand. But when you're a woman to a woman and you say, "Oh,
yeah,
this person said this to me," and then you think, yeah, and you get it because you're like, yes, I've been through that, and it's really annoying. Like
yeah,
even little things like going into a guitar shop. My sister went into a guitar shop to get a battery for her guitar, and
yeah.
the guy said, "Well, what sort of guitar did your boyfriend have?" And Kerry was like, "Well, it's my guitar." He was like, "Oh, is it?" And that doesn't sound like anything, but when
Oh
you get
no.
that on a like it puts, I think it makes you feel like you don't belong.
Well, that's true. Which reminds me,
Yeah.
actually, because it's the same with records. People who collect records. I'm glad that nowadays there are lots of young people and also women and girls collecting records. Because I have experienced it. Because sometimes it's me and my husband who'll be sort of like in the stall and stuff, and then people will always ask him, and I'm
Mm,
the one who owns the records. I know
yeah,
what I've got,
they're
and then
yours.
he'll just say, no, she knows that she's the one. It's almost like immediately they'll go to the men and it was like, ask them about it. No, it's my records. I know where it is. So it was like,
Absolutely, yeah, no, you're right, and it makes it's people, other people wouldn't realize how that can feel, but if that happens regularly, you start to think, well, it sort of messes with your identity a little bit, I think,
yeah,
and yeah,
yeah, it's
and
true.
so I think it's interesting, that question. I think, yeah, there should be more, and I always because I teach little children, so I always try and get like, if little kids want to, they often come in and they say, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I
Yeah,
always try and say to little girls, like, "Oh, you could do that," like try and empower. And like I used to run an open mic night at a cafe in Cambridge until COVID hit, and I tried to make it like not just a female space. I wanted to make it a mix, but I
yeah,
really
yeah,
wanted to make it accessible for young females, and actually it worked. Like as it got more popular, more and more female young girls, 15, 14 years old, and their parents would have to bring them because they were too young to get there on their own, with their guitar, and they'd written us, and it was lovely. And I thought that's the space. That's because we're making a space for people to feel like they feel
Feel
comfortable enough to
comfortable.
come and,
Yeah,
yeah. And one of the Baby Seals mottos is to create the space, not take the space. So it's about trying to include people and be empowering, but not try and take over as well. It's yeah. So you're absolutely right. It's a really valid question, because there should be more female drummers, and I think a lot of students I have, the females actually make, I don't know why, but when you get like, girl drummers they sort of tend to focus more or something. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure. But they make very good drummers. Obviously, there's men make great drummers as well. But that it's a shame that more women, perhaps don't feel like,
Yeah, I'm sure there will be a balance some maybe in a few years time, hopefully. um
I think it's like what's that phrase? I've forgotten. I'm not really bad with remembering words and phrases, but like where you basically see something,
yeah,
and then you feel so inspired, and the more and more female drummers we see on, so like Chapel Roan, Beyonce, people like that are fantastic because they promote women musicians. So Beyonce, for instance, is it the Sugar Mamas, her band?
oh yeah,
Complete all female lineup, from bass to guitar, piano, trumpet, drums. Nikki Eclipse was playing for Beyonce. Kim, oh gosh, again really bad, but I'll remember her name and maybe mention it later. But she had like, and then the more people see that, I guess, the more
they get encouraged. It's like
yeah. They think, oh yeah, there are women doing it, and maybe and because when you see men always doing it and always on the stage, perhaps a lot of women don't feel inspired. I don't know, maybe they do, but.
Well, I wanted to ask about your bands. So, what was the first band after learning how to play the drums? What was your first band?
So I was in a band. There's only been one or two bands that I've never been in a band with my sister. The one or two examples. The rest of the bands I've been in have always been with Kerry.
Oh,
but we started. Are we allowed to swear on this?
Of course, yeah.
Our first band was a folk band called Shit Sandwich.
Oh,
right. So I don't know if you like Spinal Tap, but there's a quote in there about their album Shark Sandwich, and it's a 2-word review, and it says shit sandwich. So we decided to take that because we loved the film Spinal Tap when we was growing up, and we loved like our dad and all of his brothers and like my whole family are very funny and used to get into lots of funny, hilarious sort of situations in their band, and always kind of never take themselves seriously. And I think that's how we were kind of brought up, to not take ourselves too seriously. So we got in a folk band, and then through doing that we met like our friend Ben Ford, who's an amazing guitarist. We used to call him Benny Hendrix. And Kerry's husband, actually, who she's married to now, was our friend Pinky, who was this amazing bass player. And the four of us, we kind of met each other, and then we decided to join a band together. So that was really cool. And then 20 years later, Kerry's obviously married, and so it's lovely, sort of nice, sort of tied up at the end there. But yeah, that was like 23 years ago or something, and that was our first band we were in, called Totally Tracy. And that was funny.
Yeah.
So we was
have you got your things like up to 11? Being being Spinal Tap.
Being Spinal. There was so many things. We used to play jokes on Ben a lot. So we told him that we did a Halloween party. So we was a covers band, and we did a Halloween party, and we told him that it was a big fancy dress up, and he had to dress up. And of course it wasn't. So we turned up as normal, and he turned up as the complete the Crow. like absolute, and looked so odd because nobody had dressed up. He was so we used to do things like that, I suppose, like a Spinal Tap-esque maybe. But so we were like a covers band, and We used to do like Alanis Morissette, Rooster. We did a couple of Cause ones actually, like, but made them more rocky, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
like sort of the Beatles, Elvis, that sort of thing. Really, yeah, I used to do that kind of thing.
Oh, well.
And then I was in a band called the Sonteens without Kerry, and
Okay, yeah.
that had Adam, my friend Adam, and Jasmine, who actually Jasmine was a baby seal for 6 years. So she was in
Okay,
it from the beginning. She was the bass
yeah,
player.
yeah.
So Jasmine was in it from the
Before, so
beginning.
this is before Kate.
This is
Before you
before
had
Kate,
Kate.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was that basically, so we were doing really well. We just finished a tour. We'd done Germany, Sardinia, had a great time. It was all kind of, and it's going up and you're thinking, gosh. And then all of a sudden COVID hit. We got back and then of course it all stopped.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
during that time, Jasmine had baby, which is lovely, which is amazing. But she's originally from Sunderland, and I think she felt really isolated. Her and her husband felt like down here, so they moved up north to be back with her family.
yeah,
And I think that it was just too difficult. And we had a chat about it and how do we want to go forward. So basically, Jasmine is still in the band, but
okay, yeah,
she's a piano player, Jasmine. So she's really good on keys. So we said if you ever want to cut, like obviously Kate's in the band now, and she's staying. She's like
yeah,
she's wonderful, and
yeah,
we love
yeah.
her and that. So so she's in the band. So she's not going anywhere. So we said if Jasmine comes back, she can do keys. So yeah, so that's
Right,
nice. Sorry,
right,
that was
yeah,
a lot of. So
yeah. So
yeah,
she's
so
still,
maybe
yeah, she's still a member. So it's
yeah.
now a four piece, but only
Once
she
you're in the
can do.
baby seals, exactly. Once you're a baby seal, you're always in the baby seals.
Yeah,
You won't ever fully leave. But obviously, we do a lot of 3 piece. But if when the time's right, if she wants to come back and do keys, then that will be brilliant. But and because on the album there are like quite a lot of synthy parts that we don't do live, and I
yeah,
don't think you really miss it. I don't think you miss it too much live, but yeah.
yeah. So who named the band the Baby Seals? Who?
Um,
How did you come up with that name?
well, it was so I used to work in a care home, and the manager who was it was obviously my manager, said it was Christmas, and she said, "Oh, we was talking about what we was doing over Christmas," and she said, "I'm going to go to the Hunstanton to see the Baby Seals," and I said, "Oh, is that a punk band or something?" And she said, "No, it's the Baby Seals, on the island." And of course. So I thought that was really funny, and I told my sister, and I said, "Oh, I made myself look like a right tit at work," because obviously, like the Baby Seals actually sounds nothing like a punk band.
Yeah, that's
Really, because it's so cute. It's such a cute name, isn't it? But
yeah, that's right.
but everybody that lives around sort of the fens knows that there's Baby Seal Island at the seaside. So whenever anyone says I'm going to see the seals, they would be
Yeah,
talking about the animal, not a band. But immediately my head went to some punk band, and then Kerry said actually that's quite a nice name because it is cute, but it's also quite ferocious as well. Because
yeah,
seals are very, very ferocious. So they're cute, but they're also like deadly.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's you have to thank your manager then. So, like, she's not asking for like royalties or something for the name that she
No,
gave you.
I have actually told her since then. I told her about it, and Janet, her name is Janet, and I said, oh, and she thought that was quite sweet as well. So yeah, I said thank you very much because you gave us the idea for the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before I ask you more about the Baby Seals, there's another band that I found out called Violently Demure.
Yes.
Is that your band as well? Is
Well,
that
that was a band again. Jasmine was in that band as well.
right? Okay,
That
yeah,
was a band with a guy called Joe Bell, who is a friend of mine in Cambridge. He's this incredible musician. He's so cool. He's got like
yeah.
a very Tom Waits vibe about him.
Oh, right,
And
okay.
he was in a band called Broadway Danny Rose, and they were incredible. They were a fantastic band, and we played with them a few times. And I got to know Joe, and he's like a thoroughly lovely man. He's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
And we started doing this kind of band. He approached me and said, "Oh, do you want to do some music? Because I've got this idea for a project." And he sent me some of the demos. And what was really weird was I sent him one back saying, do you know the film The Shining? So
Yes,
this is
yeah, yeah.
this is the reference I gave him, and this is what's really spooky about sometimes when you collaborate with someone. So with the things he sent me, I sent him a message saying, "Oh, I love the film The Shining," and there's a bit where Jack's walking through the the hall, and you
The
can hear
whole,
this
yeah,
singing, and it sounds like it's like really old fashioned singing, and it sounds like it's in a box. And he called me, and he said that is exactly what I was watching. That's the scene and it was like, oh, and it was sort of, so we said, oh, it's meant to be. We're meant to work together because it was such a specific reference, and it just sort of popped in my mind.
yeah,
So we
yeah.
started doing these songs, and they were so cool. And then, of course, COVID ruined it all. So
Oh
yeah,
no.
I know. So I think it's a funny time, COVID, because lots of people seem to have babies. It's probably a great time to do it, actually, right? If you can't go out anywhere and
That's
you're going to be in, why not get it? Get those young years done. So I think that's kind of what happened there as well. So yeah, so he's got two gorgeous kids, and so yeah, it sort of got put on hold. But I think it will happen at some
yeah.
point.
But so nothing happened with Violently Demure. I mean, again, it's a really brilliant name for a band. It's like violently, but then it's got that demure kind of thing.
And that's exactly how his music sounded. It's really weird because, like, sometimes something can sound so much like what it's supposed to. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah,
like, yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, hopefully something will happen with it, because actually it got to a point where we was going to record. We hadn't done a gig or anything by that point. We sort of we used to go into the practice room every week for a
yeah,
few hours and just practice and get the song sounding really good. We was going to record a demo and then try and get some gigs, and then of course the COVID pandemic hit. And I'm very mindful, as well as I say this, it's not the worst thing in the world that a project comes to an end when lots of people died and lots of people really suffered through that time. I know it sounds very like insensitive of me to say, oh, it's such a shame the project came to an end,
oh
because
no,
obviously it was a
yeah,
terrible time for lots of people, but
yeah,
but it is annoying as well, like when you're doing something and then it stops. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's a really strange period because it's like for a year and a half I didn't go out at all because I was so scared. You hear about all these people dying, and it was like, is this it? And because I love going to gigs so much, all of a sudden I just don't want to do anything anymore. I was just so like just stuck at home and so,
Yeah,
um,
it
yeah,
was so surreal. I can't believe it was like 5, 6 years ago. It's just so
yeah,
crazy that time, that happened, and everybody kind of. I mean, it wasn't the same for everybody. Everyone's situations were different, but obviously, essentially, we were all, everything stopped. So
yeah,
yeah, and then, like you say, the anxiety of coming back out of it was quite big for a lot of people as well, and yeah, it did feel very weird to get playing again. And of
yeah,
course, that last show in Sardinia that we played, we didn't know that was going to be our last show with Jazz. I mean, as I said earlier, it's not that we won't ever play with Jasmine again. It's just for the time
yeah,
being. After
yeah,
we none of us knew that was going to be our last. We couldn't have imagined. So I try now, whenever I play a gig, I always sort of take a moment, and I know it sounds a bit trite, but I kind of, that really like meant a lot to me. That touched me when I thought of it like that, and I thought, God, we didn't know that was going to be our last gig with each other.
yeah, yeah,
And then of course it was, and well, for the time being, I say. But now when
yeah,
we do a gig, every time we do, and I always think to myself, just really enjoy this, take it in, and
yeah,
and really, really enjoy this
yeah,
being here, and this connection, because there is a huge, deep connection you have with each other on stage, where you look at each other and you know what the other one's going to do, and it's all unspoken, and it's this lovely kind of way of being, and that. So yeah, I do enjoy it,
yeah, yeah.
and like consciously enjoy it, I suppose, now,
You
just
all
in
look
case.
it as well. You all look like you're really enjoying it. And the thing that I've noticed is, um, your songs as well. A lot of them has got funny titles, which is like, I'm the one that I videoed because it was the first time I've seen you. I didn't actually. I don't think it was announced, or maybe it was announced who the support act is going to be at the Cabin Club. So I didn't know. I had no idea who the support act was going to be, and the one that I was able to record because I didn't know any of the songs. It's got a funny title because I looked it up and I thought, is this really what they were saying? Because it's the one where it says, my female thing is lopsided.
Oh yes, yes,
I
yeah.
don't care. And then of course there's nipple hair as well and things like that. And I'm like, are these
It's,
all? Is it like collaboration with all the members, or are those lyrics basically Carrie's lyrics?
yeah, the Kerrys. So
Okay.
Kerry wrote. What did she write? We had a. There's another musician in Cambridge called Emily Fraser, who's really cool. Who's really really cool. Really great voice. So beautiful. If you've not heard of her, go check her out because she's incredible. We was with Jasmine Kerry, Emily Fraser, and myself. And we was all sat around the table and we was talking about periods. And I can't remember which one of us it was, but someone was saying, "Oh my god, I had a really like horrendous period," and it was like they sort of come out a bit clotty, and they really panicked, and they said, "Oh, it was a real drama," and Kerry said it was a period drama, like Pride and Prejudice,
Yeah,
but not
period.
that.
Yeah.
Pride and Prejudice gone wrong. And we all sort of laughed, and then she sent us a recording the next day, and she was like, dun 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 dun, only ever happens when you're having or whatever the words were. We don't play that song anymore, but it was like period drama, this shit is crazy, oh will somebody save me. So that was like, we was like, oh my god, that's really good, and we should do something. So she wrote maybe 5 songs, and they just came out really fast. Like, I suppose it just, because she's actually a folk singer, my sister. So she's a folk artist, and she writes really beautiful folk music.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so it was a bit of a sidestep from that. And yeah,
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 because I was going
she
to say, the Baby Seals, if anyone hasn't heard of it yet, you're a punk band.
yeah, we are. Yeah, so to go from folk to I know it's very strange, but yeah. So my labia is lopsided, but I don't mind. Came from
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Kerry saw a program, and I can't remember the name of the artist, but he made a labia wall and took it around the country. So
Oh, I
he like
see.
modelled 100 women. He modelled their like vulva
Oh,
in
yeah,
plaster, and then made a wall out of it and took it around the country because there was a real spike in young girls. Well, I'm talking like 15 or 16 years old having plastic surgery on their vaginas because
yeah,
they wanted
yeah,
like a porn fanny or something. They kept seeing like this unrealistic expectation, this unrealistic body type for women.
yeah,
And
yeah,
he basically wanted to say that you don't have to do that because he wanted to show them this wall. And so he took it around the country. It's a really great thing to do and really cool. And Kerry saw it and really was like, well, I'll write a song about that. So wanted, again, all of the songs really want to empower, make people laugh a little bit perhaps, and there's always a clear message in them all, but it's never to kind of preach. Or not that preaching's a bad thing, obviously sometimes it's got its place, but at a gig it's nice to, when you get people laughing,
yeah,
you get them
yeah.
on side. You can get them on side, and you can have it opens up the door to have a conversation. So the
That's
people that come sometimes, come to us after the show, and talk about these things. It's I think had the message have been a bit more aggressive and there's no humor or fun to it, I think that I don't know, that I think that could possibly shut down those like important
yeah,
conversations. And it's
yeah,
they're never like hugely deep conversations, but there might be something in it where you can talk and maybe say, there's a lot of men that come to our shows, and we really love that, and it's lovely that they want to, when they come and chat and stuff.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
really it's so cool, and you can talk to them about, we've had a few people come over and say, which one of you's got a lopsided fanny then, and things like and it's like obviously they're joining in with the joke, but it's like the joke's really, that's our joke, that's for us, and trying to be a bit cheeky with them, going, oh, don't be such a cheeky git, that's not an appropriate question or whatever it is, but with humor you can kind of have those conversations, can't you?
what's the process of it? So Carrie is the one who does all the lyrics and the songs. So what about the drum parts? Does Carrie already have what she has in mind, that oh, this is what the drum should sound, or is it you who produce or who makes them or writes them?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes she does. Yeah, she like with Tamu actually that's just come out.
Yeah,
The song that's just come out. There's a bit in it that goes boom cha boom cha, bada bum 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 bum. It's sort of like that. And she said to me, I want that to go in there. Can you do that? So she did it like that with her mouth, and I was just like, okay, boom cha, bada bum bum, and she was like, yep, that's exactly what I wanted. So sometimes she does have specific drum parts, but most often, I mean, she's very. It's nice collaborating with Kerry and Kate because everybody's very. No one's kind of tyrannical about what you should do,
yeah,
but
yeah,
everyone's kind of feel everyone feels comfortable enough to say, oh, I think like Kate, because she's the bass player, will say, I think that might sound really good, but on the tom, like so maybe do it on the tom and make it sound a bit more glam, like, and then you'll
yeah,
try it, and then sometimes you might say, oh, like, oh yeah, I like that too, but I like, and you can have like conversations. So yeah, a lot of the time we all come up with a kind of our own parts, but sometimes
yeah,
we have a crossover where we say, oh, I think, could you try that, I can hear this. And so yeah, and famously what I do as well, because I love funk. I'm a real funky little drummer. Like I love funk music,
yeah.
and I love funk drumming. It's my favourite, and I do try. And I always say there's a little saying. I go, is it too jazzy? Because
All
like
right.
because sometimes I'll put way too much in and it's too decorative. And Terry or Kate would say, yeah, it doesn't work because it's a bit more. You've made it sound quite, but yeah. So yeah. Sometimes there is that as well, where I put something
Yeah,
in where I think, oh, that sounds really cool. That sounds really, and they're like, no, it
yeah.
doesn't go. So
Well,
yeah.
is it easy to work with your sister, with a family member, or is it difficult, or is it, at least you can talk to her? And also, with Kate not being a family member, is she so like sometimes feel like, oh, okay, it's the sisters, is there something like that
Oh, I
that's
think
or,
yeah,
yeah,
well, Kate's kind of we just think of Kate as like one of our family, like best. I think like we
okay,
just think of she's like our sister, another, you know what I mean? It's like we always, I mean, it's
the
hard
mother,
sometimes because, yeah, because obviously, that must be hard for Kate sometimes to come in. I don't, I've never thought about it, but then I have thought about it, after sort of discussions or, after band practice. And I think, yeah, because we're sisters and it must be sometimes, I mean, I've never asked her, so she might say, no, it doesn't feel hard. But
yeah, yeah,
I wonder, if it feels a bit uncomfortable at times, especially when we go on tour, when we're all together all the time. And me and Kerry are so used to each other and can kind of be grumpy with each other. And I mean, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, I think we get on really well. And I don't think there's never it doesn't feel like that, but it's hard. But I love working with them both.
yeah,
It's great. And I love working with Jasmine as well. I've been in loads of bands with Jazzy, so it was really cool. And I miss working with her. And hopefully one day, she might come
sure,
back and do keys for us because we get, Kate and Jasmine get on very well as well. So we'll get, it's like a night. It would be a really good, fun
yeah,
thing to
yeah.
happen. But
So this nothing like the Gallagher brothers, like fighting amongst the siblings.
no, we used to. So funny enough, before I was diagnosed with autism, because I'm autistic, so I was diagnosed, and I when we first started going on tour, it was very hard, and I was kind of debating whether to talk about this on this interview, but I thought I would because I think there are lots of women at the moment who are undergoing diagnosis or maybe are not sure, and life is very difficult. And actually, touring sent me over the edge, and I had a near-on sort of breakdown or something, I don't know, and that was very, very difficult. And that was with Jasmine and Kerry, and I think they managed it really well. But that was hard on Kerry, and I think she got very frustrated. And there was a few fireworks, like not on stage ever, but like behind the scenes. I'm sure Kerry won't mind me saying this either, but actually ultimately she handled it really well because it was a very tough situation. And we were away for like 3 weeks. and it was, it was very, very difficult. And but when I was diagnosed, and I was like, okay, so now it's such a supportive atmosphere, because
Yeah.
we were a neurodivergent band. We all have some form of neurodivergency about us.
Yeah.
So we all we know how to support each other. So we know, like, sometimes I need space. And Kerry needs things, and Kate needs, we're all sort of aware now, which is
Yeah.
really cool. So actually, it's nothing like a Gallagher kind of brother situation. It's actually it's the polar opposite.
Oh,
And the only time it perhaps wasn't like that is because there was a lack of understanding. And actually, my sister hadn't been diagnosed either. So there was, when you got two people not coping with the environment, sorry,
yeah.
and and you don't know why or what's going on, it
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
things very, very stressful. So yeah, so that was the only time really that ever really happened, and apart from that, it's always been really fun.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course, it's hard when you tour. You're together a lot, and you have to sort of give each other space and time.
Of
Let
course.
each other
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no. To answer your question, sorry, Anne, I went on a bit of a tangent there. I could do. But yeah, no, I love working with Kerry, and I love working with Kate and Jazzy as well. And yeah, it's a really, of course, all bands have their squibbles and things like that, but
Of course.
it's always, we can always resolve things, and we all talk to each other, and it never feels sort of toxic. It always feels like you've got a space to speak and be heard, which is really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, I think communication really is the key to sort of like making sure that if you have maybe an argument or something or disagreement, as long as you talk to each other, then it should be fine.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's always the way, isn't it? It's always the thing. You've got to be able. That's the thing. It's like if there's no space for discussion, and I think it's probably like any relationship, really. If there's no space for discussion, then you can't, because you can't walk on eggshells forever, can you? You can't, like, not say you're going to offend someone or you're going to upset someone at some point, and you've got to be able to know how to navigate
Yeah,
back through that. So yeah, so I think the Baby Seals are a very supportive. There's basically nothing that could happen that can't come back from. I think it's
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
like, and our manager, Joel, is like that too. He's lovely, and there's just the space to talk about things, and to be honest, and to have a say,
yeah,
be heard, talk about concerns, that it's a very trapped animal with who we're signed with, and they're an incredible label. They're so ethical, and they put the artist first, and
yeah,
and just like a really good organic bunch of people who love music, who aren't in it for the money. Of course, money is, to make a living and everything, but
yeah. Of course, yeah,
ultimately the
yeah,
first
yeah,
and foremost kind of thing is to get good music out there, and to look after the artist, and have some sort of good press that way, rather than
yeah,
getting
yeah.
big and money wise and all that sort of stuff.
Is Trapped Animal Records your own record label? Is that
It,
your?
so it's a record label set up by Joel and Kerry. So
Yeah,
yes, and it was only set up to get, because Joel's in an incredible band called Sunday Driver, who are like a fusion band. So they're kind of, I can't even, I don't, it's got, sort of some sort of sitar playing in there, and lots of different
okay.
types of drums. And and Pete would be a great person for this. He's like, and I was actually gonna, I've had drumming lessons and I've done my grade, but I was going to go to him for some extra drumming lessons, because he is a monster on the drums. He's he's just incredible. But yeah, so basically, Sunday Driver and Baby Seals were kind of going, and I think they just thought, we don't want to put our stuff out with any other label, because at the time the other labels weren't really doing a lot, or were a bit money orientated.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think the idea was to start the label just solely to get our stuff out, the Baby Seals and Sunday Driver, and then through the years, and Kerry's album as well, actually, Kerry Devine, her folk album. And through the years, they've just like picked up, like, just attracted these fantastic artists. And if you go to the Trapped Animal website, you'll see like they're really. I sort of call them the Monty Python of the music industry, because there's something that threads all of the artists together, but they're nothing alike. That it's not like, some record labels. I'm just trying to think of one,
It's
but I
like a
can't now.
specific genre. They have like if it's just an indie label or something, so all
Yeah,
these songs are indie. Yeah, yeah,
exactly. And Trapped Animal, there's a definite theme. You got people like Jeremy Tuplin on there, and Sidisa, and you've got who else? Oh, Dear Pariah is on there. She's there. Sorry, they are incredible. Gemma Freeman and the Cosmic Something, incredible band. They're just, but there's loads of them now.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
all
it's
the
really
different,
cool.
they release different music genres, not just one.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do, and you're absolutely right. They're different genres, but they seem to be linked somehow. I don't know how. They're just all very
Okay.
organic, very good, and they're not linked through genre. I think they're linked through like some, integrity and sound, and
Yeah.
like going for their own thing. And like they've just who's that woman? Oh gosh, again, really bad with names. She's Irish, Mary. Oh, she released an album. It was so. What I'll do is I'll find it and send it to you.
Okay.
Can't say
Okay.
it on the live on this. Sadly, she's on the Trapped Animal website though. But she is like incredible, and she did this really like. And I had to listen to it 3 times to actually start to get into it. But like Amanda Palmer, sometimes you have to listen to something a few times, but it's
Yeah.
good, and you think, if I listen to this a couple more times, I'm going to be hooked, like completely,
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that's where the gold is, where you're not hooked immediately. You have to like let it sink in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's the latest with the Baby Seals? Have you got any? I know that you released an album. Was it last year or 2 years ago? In
It was 2024. Yeah, we released our
right, yeah,
debut album Chaos. So we
yeah,
released. Sorry, I just had some water, so I'm a bit burpy. Sorry. We released Chaos a couple of years ago, which, and it was received really well. It's been played on BBC Six.
yeah, yeah,
It's been played on various other sort of national radio stations, and we got obviously a really good tour, like a couple of really good tours out of it in Europe, and the supports a lot with Bow Wow Wow, and the Let's Goes. We supported them as well.
yeah, yeah.
They're really good. They're a really good band. And other various really lovely things that have happened, like some nice reviews in the Clash and things like that. Clash magazine. And yeah, so this year what we're going to do is we're really just focusing on the second album,
Ah,
and hoping to do some festivals as well. So we decided, we thought maybe we won't do anything in Europe for this year, but I mean, who knows if something amazing pops up. But
yeah,
we sort of mainly focus on the UK and doing the album, because
doing the album. Yeah,
because of Brexit, sadly, touring in Europe is it's just so expensive, and it's incredible, like the little things as well that you don't know about, when obviously when we left the EU, like things like you can't use a card machine in Europe if you don't have a European bank, if you don't have a Spanish, French. And of course, if you're going from country to country touring, like we did, Spain, France, you'd have to have 2 bank accounts, one in France, one in Spain, to do the transactions, which means you're limited to cash.
um,
And yeah, which obviously people don't really carry cash now for merch and things like
yeah,
that. And then
yeah,
you're limited to how much merch you can take. You can't take, maybe 10 t-shirts you can take. Whereas before the whole chaos, with Brexit happened, you could take as much as you wanted, and the card machine would work everywhere. And it's just, I mean, that's not the only issues, but they're two of the smaller ones that you wouldn't even think about,
yeah,
but sort of, it is hard. So yeah, it's very difficult. So yeah, so again, so I think we'll concentrate on the UK. There's some great
yeah,
venues in the UK, and really nice festivals as well, and just finish our album really with Pirate Joe,
yeah, yeah. And
who's our producer and an engineer.
what about Indonesia? Because apparently you're big in Indonesia.
Yes, we actually signed. Now I always get confused. I'm the one in the band that's a bit vague and doesn't know what's going on half the time. But we're signed to an Indonesian record label, which I see. I did all the research before this, and now I'm chatting to you. It's sort of gone out of my head. Um, but we
How
are
did that
signed to.
happen? So
Sorry.
how did that happen? I don't know. It was like maybe it's like music in like in the Philippines when I was a teenager. Someone like maybe a DJ brought over music from the UK, and that's how we got to know it. Is it all like the same thing in Indonesia? That
It's kind of it's because one of we signed. So we got signed to. There was an Indonesian band who was
yeah.
also under the umbrella of this other company, this other record label.
Ah,
Trapped Animal did a deal with them to help get their products out in the UK. Their record and everything.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then we did it in reverse. So then we signed with Indonesia to do the same for us. So we kind of did a swap. So yeah. So this band again, I've forgotten their name. Sorry, I'm absolutely useless. I should have had it written down here. But basically, it sort of works. It's a funny thing how it works. The world's so small. When you do something like this, you realise just how small everything is. Because like Joel, who's worked in the music industry for years and has worked for various different agencies and companies. When I first met Joel, actually, he'd just finished helping to orchestrate Adele's tour in America or somewhere like that. So he was working at quite a big company, and so he's really good at what he does, and he knows lots of people. You see, so he knows like lots of promoters in America, say, and Joel are kind of friendly, and I think there was like a crossover with another band, and somebody in the band and their promoter or their manager said to Joel, "Oh, have you heard of this band?" And Joel forwarded to him us, and that sort of thing, and then it kind of links together like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's quite loose. There's more detailed how it actually happened, but it's really difficult sometimes to remember, like it's like how things how it happened. But yeah, so it's kind of the world gets so small when you have that relationship with people, because because of doing German tours and things like that, we've gotten friendly with like venues, let's say in places like Duisburg, and
Yeah.
like very random, like we're still in touch with the people that own the venue, and we can even say to friends of ours here, like in bands and other bands we see, "Oh, try York from this place or try Patrice in Dax. He's got a venue in Dax, and you could go and play there, and he's really nice." And
Yeah.
then from there, he'd know, like the guy, say Patrice from Dax, would know other promoters in the area, and that's how you kind of get this nice sort of linky snake going, where you then meet, and it it's like, I suppose, any industry. I guess it's actually quite small when you think of it, because the world's a big place, but the people doing music and putting music on, I suppose, when you've been to these places and you've met these people. So yeah, so I think the same kind of happened with that link with the Indonesian record label.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't gonna so like no, yeah. The next question I wanted to ask you is when you're not drumming, because again I found this out on Google that have you got a music school for people who have learning disabilities?
Yes,
How
so
one? Yeah, yeah,
yeah, so that again, COVID. Oh, but before COVID hit, my friend Melina and I,
yeah,
Melina's a drama expert, and she's really great. She's done lots of shows, touring again, but the acting side of things rather than music. We used to work together at the Cambridge Regional College, and we put on these really cool productions, with the students. So I'd sort of take care of the music side of things. She did the sort of, we'd write the shows together and we'd direct them, and we do, like, it was great. And then we decided to go and do it out of that environment, and we did quite a few workshops, and they were really successful. We got like a good number, and the
yeah,
plan was to take it further and to then start, like, maybe going to the councils and saying this is actually a provision, like we're going to do this as a provision, and we're going to do this every day, and we want students to come, and all that sort of stuff. And then COVID hit. So we still do the workshops, but it didn't go how we wanted it to go, because we wanted to make it into an actual school.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
kind of still a school, but it doesn't run that often these days. I think last year was the first summer holidays I didn't do any workshops, because
yeah,
again,
yeah.
now it's the same problem I was talking about earlier, is that the venues in Cambridge have to like charge more because everything's gone up. So then I have to charge more, and the idea of it is to make it inclusive. So and then I don't like charging. I feel it doesn't sit well with me. The only way to go around it really would be get funding, I suppose. But yeah, I haven't looked into that. But yeah, so yeah, the answer, yes, we did have a school, and it still does run, but not very often,
Not as often.
sadly.
But you still, you said earlier that you teach young
Yeah,
kids. So this is not your school. Is it?
I work for a company called Rock Academy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're an already kind of existing. They're nationwide. So they what they do is, it's a guy called Lee, who's really lovely, and he employs people up and down the country, and then he gets these schools. So I have two or three schools. No, I have three schools. Sorry, so I have three schools I go to. So I'm kind of self-employed, but I work through them. So you go into the school, and then you basically go to the classroom and get the kids. They have to sign up, obviously,
Yeah.
and you get the child, and you say, can so and so come out for their drum lesson, and then you give them like a half an hour drum lesson every
Oh,
week. And then yeah, so it's really nice, it's really cool.
yeah. Yeah. Well, do they know that you're a professional drummer in the band? When
Well, the funny thing is, one of the children said, she's really lovely, and she's kind of quite grown up for her age, but her mum Googled me and found the band. And of course I don't, because this is primary school children,
yeah,
so I never
yeah,
tell them about the baby seals, because it's sort of, I mean, in one way it's not inappropriate at all, and another way it kind of is inappropriate, because it opens up all these questions, doesn't it? Which I'm not there to talk about. I'm there to teach. So it'd be her mum Googled me, and then put the songs on, and this little girl heard the songs, and when she came into the school, she had all these questions about them, and I was
yeah.
like, oh, maybe go home and again, because she's young and wants to know what a lavia is, and I was like, yeah, go and ask your mum. Don't ask me, ask your mum.
Yes, the baby seals. It was like,
So yeah, no, I do try and keep it quite quiet, because of that reason, really, just because I mean, there's a lot of swearing in the songs as well, and not, I mean, I'm not like strict in that way with children, but I know it's hard to know what parents allow and what they, I think it's always best just to stay quiet and not say anything about it, and you know
oh,
so
being a
yeah.
drum teacher, would you say that anyone can be a drummer?
Well, I don't believe in talent. This is the funny thing. I don't actually. I think you have to have a real interest in something, and then the talent comes after you've practiced it. Because I think, so. Yeah, in a short answer, yes, I think anyone could. But in the long answer, I think you have to have an interest in that thing. And a lot of people, come in and they have a go at music and they don't practice, and they're not that interested really. And you're like, what music do you listen to? And they'll say, oh, I don't listen to any music. And in my head, I think, well, you're not going to have many lessons then, because you're clearly not interested in this. So those
Yeah,
people probably won't ever become like a musician, but that's okay, because they don't want to be. But I think if you've got a real want in your heart to be a musician, you can
yeah,
do it, and it doesn't matter if you're not exactly great with rhythm, or you can learn all that stuff. And there are
yeah,
really good ways, like a lot of children I teach, when they first start looking at rhythm, and you like look at beats and how you subdivide beats, a lot of them struggle with when you say like one eander, two eander. So what you do is you say, okay, don't do that, then let's say double decker, double decker, double decker. So you there are ways of like making it easier, you know what I mean? But yeah,
oh,
I think anyone could definitely learn the drums or an instrument, but it's just having that interest in it, and then it's the practice that makes you talented. You see, I think.
But based on your experience, though, didn't it come to you naturally, like the drumming? And
It, I suppose. Well, the first drum beat. Well, I always remember sitting at my uncle Mitch's drum kit, like it is Ludwig drum kit, and I was
yeah,
like, wow. And he was like, you've got to hit that one 4 times, and then you got to hit that one once, and then hit that one once, and then hit that one once, and then hit that. So I was like, okay. And I remember sitting there for a while, like really struggling. And I remember struggling with it. And I was thinking, oh God, I can't do it. And he just said to me, just keep trying, don't give up, just keep going. And then all of a sudden, I got it, and I was like, oh, I can do it. And then I just did that for ages. So I guess it sort of maybe came a bit naturally, but at the same time, there was lots of things I struggled with, and when I started to have proper lessons, because
yeah,
when I
yeah,
did with my uncle Mitch, he didn't sort of he showed me so much, but we didn't do technique, and of course I had a bad technique which nearly injured my arm, so I went for drumming lessons to correct it. And I really got into grades and all these different drum
yeah,
styles. And of course, that a lot of that, I really struggled with that. But I had such an interest in it that it just drove me forward and pushed me through it. And I
yeah.
think that's the thing, is a lot of people might you think, oh, I can't do it, and just give up, which is fair enough. Because I do that with maths, with I can't do my accounts. I have to have an accountant, because I just look at my tax return, I think I can't do this, but actually I could if I tried. I just have no desire to. So I think I'll pay someone else to do it.
I
Yeah.
think that was my problem because I tried it once, and well, not once. I think I had like 3 lessons, but then
Oh,
because my
cool.
brother, when I was young, because I was living in the Middle East, and then these 2 American guys said to me, "We're gonna form a band, but I want you to be a drummer." Because they wanted a female drummer, and I was about to go home. I was about to go to the Philippines for my holiday, and he said, it's a 6 week holiday. Learn how to play the drums. When you get back to the UAE, we're gonna form a band. So I did some lessons, but after the third one, my brother said to me, "Have you learned anything?" I said, "No. I was just watching my tutor play the drums because he was so good." Because I tried it myself and I just thought, no, this is not for me. Because I think I was very self conscious, and I always find drummers, they're so cool to
You're cool,
watch them,
but you're
to
really
look at.
cool.
I was like, I see them like every time I go to a gig, I make sure that I can see the drummer. I position myself. I always go early so I can see the drummer and position myself where I have a clear view of the drummer. And I always think, God, they're so cool the way they play and everything. And you're so cool when I saw you there. And with me, and I tried it. I just thought so awkward. It's like it's not for me.
Oh, oh, I would
Give up.
say. Wait, it sounds like when you had your 3 lessons, the tutor were they did they sit you down at the drum kit and get you to
Oh,
actually play,
he
or did
did,
they?
but then I was like because I was feeling a bit self-conscious, and I thought that's so awkward for me. I just, can you show it to me again? And I just told him, "Oh, that's really great. Show it." He showed me again, and then the time's up. It was like it's already an hour, and then I said, "Okay, I'll come back next week."
Oh,
Until
see,
my yeah, until
that's
my
where
brother
you
said
need.
to me, "You're just wasting your money. I'm not taking you there anymore."
Oh, that's such a shame, because the thing is with being a teacher, I think I'm not criticizing your tutor because I wasn't there, but for me, you have to have like almost there's different personas you have to adopt as a teacher, and one of them is the Jeffrey Hayes characterization. He was from Rainbow, the guy from Rainbow, very happy, very kind of like
Oh,
enthusiastic. And when
yeah,
you've got a kid who's on the drums, they always look awkward at first. Everyone looks sort. It's like watching a toddler to walk. To begin with, it's gonna, because it's like you your muscle memory hasn't kicked in, and you're using these muscles, and you're sitting in an awkward way, really.
yeah,
And it does
yeah,
take time. And you have as a tutor, what you have to keep doing, if the kid's going, I can't do it, you have to say, you can do it. You're doing brilliantly. Go on, keep going. And it's like, even if they're not doing great, you have to like basically just be really enthusiastic and say, see, you can do it. You're doing amazingly well. And like that's one of, on myself, so I don't do that with adults or like all the
yeah,
way through, but sometimes when someone, you can see the self-doubt creeping in, And it's like you have to just say to them, no, get rid of that. And you have to be the one to say, to almost be too much, like go over the top with it and push that self doubt away, because otherwise, yeah, like you say, it feels too awkward. So it's a shame.
Yeah,
It's a shame
yeah.
you wasn't in a position where like your tutor was like, no, you're going to get back on the drums, and it is awkward, and you're going to feel like this for a while, but just keep going with it because you'll be great. You'll do it, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
I think he
Yeah.
was just happy to perform for me. It was like, because I said, "Oh, you're amazing." So when I got back to the UAE, and then this two guys said to me, "So did you learn how to play?" I said, "No." I was like, and then I don't think they formed the band. It was like they really just wanted to have a female drummer, but oh well.
Oh
I think
well.
yeah.
I'm sure you're a great drummer. I'm sure you'd have been a top drummer. You should still do it. You should still do it. You'll be terrific.
I think I just sort of like really want to just watch them and just admire them and love the drummers. That's what I would like to do. But
Yeah.
anyway, so, yeah. I've now got this regular questions that I always ask because I know it was over an hour now that we're chatting. I'm really
Oh,
enjoying this
I'm
chat.
really enjoying it too. It's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one, I mean, this is I've started asking this this year, and the two drummers that I've asked, they thought it's a bit difficult question to answer, but we'll see what you think of it. So if you could drum for any band, or in any band, which band would it be? Apart from the Baby Seals, of course.
Apart from baby seals, that's a very good question. I like that question. There's a few. Oh, it's very difficult to pick one. Because I always say like I'd love to have drummed for Colonel Gomez back in the day, but that obviously would have meant my Uncle Mitch wouldn't have had a gig, so that
Oh,
you can't do that. But I tell you, I've always had a love for the band Focus.
oh,
So,
right. Yeah,
yeah, I love when I
The
in
Dutch
fact,
band.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
it. That's
yeah,
Pierre Van. Oh, what was the drummer called? They had a few drummers.
yeah,
What
yeah.
was it? Pierre Van. He was the one that I really liked. There was they did some live radio show where they played live, and he was playing with them then, and it was phenomenal. Like it was a bit self-indulgent, but come on, why not? You're that
Yeah,
good. Yeah, I do. I have a real love for Focus. I remember being very, very young, like maybe 3 or 4, and hearing Sylvia for the first time, and just like, oh, loving it so much. And
yeah,
it's sort of like really now nostalgic for me for those days. So yeah, I think maybe Focus or the Jimi Hendrix Experience, because Mitch
Hendrix, yeah,
Mitchell
yeah,
really,
yeah.
that really loved it. Yeah, something like that, because the drumming I always found was very solid, and it wasn't too over the top. But when those drummers went, they kind of did it in such style. It was so tasteful.
Yeah.
And I love drummers like that. I love drumming that's very solid, but also like very ghostly as well, like the ghost notes, and kind of really grooving. And then it kind of goes a bit mad, and then it comes back, and and they did. There's actually, oh, is it Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers? Is he the
Yeah,
drummer from?
yeah, yeah. Red Hot Chili Peppers, yeah. Chad,
He
yeah,
did.
yeah.
He did. He did Hocus Pocus with I saw it. I don't know what it was. It was that it wasn't Focus doing it. It was like a Philharmonic Orchestra or something, and he was drumming. And they did, and it was just like it was. He's amazing. Like Chad Smith's an amazing drummer, but like it was just too much. And it lost its kind of tastefulness, because it was just all
Oh,
over the top. And like
yeah.
and that's the thing with like oh god, oh, I wish I wasn't so bad with names and everything. But anyway, him,
Focus
he
drummer,
he
yeah, yeah.
he just knew when to do that. He knew when to let loose and when to come back in, and I
Yeah,
think that's really cool. Like I love that, and that's a skill that I'll always try and have, and I don't have
yeah.
it yet, but I'll always try and learn and try and make that my skill as well. So yeah.
What do you think of drum solos? Because I always say that I think at every gig there should be a drum solo.
Yeah, I mean, drum solos are lovely, aren't they? Very. And Roger Taylor, I always think Roger Taylor's a great drummer for drum solos, because he
Yeah,
makes them. He takes the mickey. He always he likes to keep them short and sweet. Roger Taylor. He always said long drum solos are even like only people that like them are drummers. That's what he says. And he says they keeps in short sleep. But yeah, he does some great drum solos, and they are actually they're perfect because they don't go on too long. But
Yeah,
yeah, I like a drum solo, and I've always been frightened of soloing. I do it when I'm on my own, and
yeah.
I think, oh, this is good. But in front of a crowd, I get some sort of red light fever or something. And I remember
Um,
the only time I've ever done it was at a gig at the Portland Arms with the Son teams, and it was just because Adam said he stopped playing, and I was carrying on, and then the crowd started clapping. And I was like, oh, so I just did some soloing, and then that was a bit planned solos. I don't know, I clam up, but I do like them. I think they're really cool.
yeah, is that something that maybe the baby seals would start to like have as part of your set to give you a drum solo?
Maybe. The only way I do a drum solo is if I do it with Kate. So like the bass and drum solo like
Yeah,
together. Like, that would be really fun. I think because we could knock off each other. We could go from like she could do a bit, I could do a bit, then we could do a bit together. I think that would be very interesting. I think yeah, I think yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, there are some incredible soloists out there, but I don't think I'm one of. I'm a bit of a groover, really. I do love grooving and putting like small fills in and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day.
hopefully, yeah, hopefully one day. Because recently I saw the drummer of a band called the Molotovs. They're
Oh,
doing really well at the moment, and so they finished the set, and then they all left, and then the drummer came back for the encore, but it was just him first. It
yes, I saw this.
Yeah, he did. So like this, it's not a very long drum solo, but everyone, I think the audience loves drum solos. And that's why I think it should be part of of every band set.
He's quite a young drummer, isn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah,
Has he
he
got
seems
like a mop of curly hair on his head?
he looks really happy.
Yes, I saw that actually. I don't know where I saw that, but I saw that someone. I thought, well, that's a very good drum solo.
Yeah,
It was great. He was really, really good. Yeah, and like you
yeah,
say, the audience loved it. And the band loved it as well. They looked like
yeah,
they all came back on, didn't they? And was sort of dancing and stuff. And
yeah.
yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah.
That should be something that at every gig, when they're maybe for the encore before the band gets back. So it's like have the drummer there first, do his thing, and
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
could be something that you could do, like the baby seals could do, and then just do a bit
We
of drum
could.
solo first.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really fun, and like, but yeah, I think I mean, right. The thing is, there's different types, isn't there? So I like really lean towards like kind of really funky, like that sort of focusy sort of Mitch Mitchum sort of style, very kind of, and then you get the rock people who do the
Yes,
rock like things, I'm not actually a very heavy drummer at all, but who's to say that we
yeah,
couldn't do
yeah.
mic up the kit and do
Right. Well,
something.
next question is, do you twirl? I don't think I saw you twirl
I
when.
I
Is that
can't.
something
The only
you
thing I
can
can do, I've probably got a drumstick kicking around somewhere. But yeah, the only thing I can do it's a fake twirl where you do that,
do?
and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
looks like you're going, but with a drumstick it looks like. But often what have I done? This is a very Spinal Tap. I've hit myself in the face and
Oh,
things like that, like poke myself in the eye whilst doing it, like that. When we did our album launch actually at the Portland, we this was a really funny Spinal Tap moment. We it was sold out and people were actually being turned away at the door. It was a really like lovely, successful evening, and it
yeah,
was so wonderful. The atmosphere was brilliant. And after we finished, we all came to the front and were taking a bow. Everyone was really cheering, and I decided to throw my drumsticks into the crowd because I thought that would be a nice thing to do. And I threw them, and what happened was there was two poles like where the lights were strung up, and somehow, I don't know how I managed to do it, but both sticks hit the two poles and then bounced back and hit me in the face. It was like,
no,
yeah. So any like trick I try and do with the drumstick, it like almost like comes back to bite me. So yeah, it was, and it's on film somewhere. Someone filmed it because I remember watching it. I thought, oh god, because it is it, like they ping back and come back and smack me in the head.
And both
And they
of them,
actually, yeah,
both the
both of them, like not just one, because there was like, you know, when you have like a lighting rig,
yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
like the different poles, and that's, it's not like one pole, it's like two, and both of them hit one, that one hit that one hit that one. They bounced back. I know, I couldn't believe it. He couldn't have written that. It was really well coordinated, but like not meant to have been like that, really.
It reminds me of, I had a drummer guest. I'm trying to think who it was, but anyways, he said that he used to do that. That he threw a drumstick to the audience, but no one took it.
Oh, that's a shame. So just,
It was like, and then he thought, well, I'm not going to do that anymore.
so was it just laying on the floor when everyone gone? Oh no, oh that's it. That's quite humiliating. I would feel a bit humiliated about it. No one wanted it.
No,
Why? Oh, poor chap. Well, maybe it's a good thing that these came back and bounced me in the face then, rather than just being laying on the floor
you
afterwards.
hand it into anyone afterwards when it came back to you, or did you just
Yeah,
get
I sort of,
you
yeah,
kept?
I was trying to, yeah, I kept them because I just thought I can't, because everyone saw it basically, and I was trying to make out that it hadn't happened, so I just like kicked them to the side. I was just like rubbing them, because actually it really hurt, and I thought to myself, actually I probably won't do that, because if it hits someone in the face in the audience, actually that does, drumsticks hurt. And I hadn't really considered that before I did it, so maybe it was a good thing that it happened to me and not somebody else, you
Somebody,
know. Not some unwitting person.
you know,
Yeah.
one of the things I always ask about drumming disasters. I think that will make it as well, like one of your drumming disasters.
Oh, we've had a few drumming disasters. Yeah, they actually, we've had quite a few where they've been, again, it's not taking yourself too seriously that really helps, I
Yeah,
think. And like, you know, and we did a gig in Manchester, and it was a very DIY kind of. It was a big gig though. It was like a very well funded, and they'd sold out.
yeah,
And this young promoter, he must have been about 17, but he looked like a real party animal. He said to me, "Oh, like the drum kit's at my house, but I can't drive. So can you take me to my house so we can pick it up?" So I said, "Oh, okay." So we got in the car, and then we went all the way to his house. And then when we got there, he said, "Oh, I've left my keys back at the venue." But by this point, it was getting later, and it was, yeah, no. And I was like, "Oh no!" So he was like, "Don't," because I said, "Have we got time to go back to the venue, get your keys, and come back?" But because he lived across town and it was like peak traffic hour, he was like, "Oh no." And then he said, "Oh, don't worry, my friend's got a drum kit. We can go to his place and get the drums." So we went out of Manchester and down this like little dusty road, and I was thinking, am I going to get murdered? Because it was like away from everyone. And we were heading towards this old factory, and I said, "Did your friend live there?" And he said, "Yeah, he lives with like 17 other people." So we went to this factory, and all the time I was thinking, what's going on? Like, this is a bit weird. And then we went in, and I was like, literally, he was right. There were 17 people that lived in this sort of dilapidated kind of building, and his friend sort of gave us a bit of a drum kit, and then we had to, anyway, long story short, we basically got back to the venue and had to gaffer tape different bits of drum kit together, and it just looked like, really, it looked hideous. And I kept thinking, is it going to fall over, or like it was, and it was like a Frankenstein-esque sort of drum kit, you know what I mean? It was yeah, that was a disaster
yeah.
drum story.
It's very Spinal Tap, wasn't it? It was like, forgetting the keys, going all the way down to his house and not having the keys, and then going to another friend's house, and oh
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. And like not mentioning his friend lives in this abandoned factory, and I kept phoning Kerry and Jasmine. They kept phoning me. I was like, "Where are you? You know, they want a sound check." And I was like, "I don't know where I am." Like literally with this man, who's driving me around Manchester trying to get this drum kit. Anyway, yeah. So, but we've had a few things a bit like that. Children's drum kits that they've sourced for us. Bad news, good news, we've got your drum kit. Bad news, it's a child's drum kit. So good luck with that. Things like that. Yeah, very
So
funny.
you don't bring your own drum kit.
Not not usually.
Not usually. Okay.
Sometimes, like with Bow Wow Wow, when you well, whenever we've gotten a support slot with like quite a substantial band,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
well, to be fair to them, they can't really lend their kit because it's often, if they're coming from overseas, they've had to hire a drum kit, so it makes it difficult for them. It's in a difficult position then when they've got to share their kit, so because of damage and things like that. So whenever we've had a situation like that, I've been asked to take my drum kit, which is cool, it's fine. And like there's other type, we've supported Head Swim, and wasn't able to use theirs at the Underworld in Camden, and so we like there's been odd gigs where I take mine, but usually it's
yeah,
you share kit share, yeah, with other bands.
yeah, yeah. And how easy or how difficult it is to adjust using other people's or maybe just the house kit? Are
It's
you
I,
just okay?
Yeah, I've always found it to be not so bad. I don't have a very fussy setup really, so I the worst thing that happens, I find, I'm really sorry because I keep burping. I'm a really burpy person. So apologies. The worst thing I find is that people tighten the nuts up too much. So like then you can't get them undone because sometimes just a case of with the toms they might be slightly higher and I want them a little bit lower or a bit more tilted or something. And then you sort of struggling with that, but that's the only thing really. Like it's never really. I don't ever find it to be that difficult,
Yeah,
really. And I'm always so grateful, because especially if you go in somewhere like London or Manchester or a big city where you've got to park somewhere far away, and
yeah,
like I'm
yeah,
always so grateful just to be like someone lending me a drum kit, which is good because
yeah,
I mean I've lent other drummers like my drums before and they've been damaged, so and it does cost you money because you have to then buy new skins, and if you use expensive skins.
right. Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, so it can cost, so it's always, I really appreciate it whenever anyone ever sort of lends a kit because I think
yeah,
yes, it's very trusting of you first of all, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But it's okay for you to just use it and this because I guess what I'm trying to ask is maybe a drummer has got their own sort of like style or sound that maybe you can't get if you're using not your own, somebody else's and not your own drum kit. Do you
Yes,
find that or
I don't ever find that.
no?
I think it's because we're kind of punky, kind of very middle, sort of the style. I think if you were in like a reggae band or you were doing something like sort of something like that, where you needed sort of a more highly tuned drum kit, it could
Ah,
be tricky. If you got like a specific genre, or you were a covers band. So I know a lot of drummers now they turn to like the electric drum kit, the Rolands and things like that, because when they're doing
yeah,
like covers and they're covering different genres, they can change the kit styles. So
yeah,
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 but for us really, it's never been a big problem. The only thing is sometimes you might find the toms are very high or they're high because I like low tuned toms, and
mm,
sometimes they're a bit higher. So when you hear back and you think, oh, that's a shame that tom. But to be honest with you, no one in the crowd I don't think would particularly know. They might not really. They wouldn't. It wouldn't ruin the gig. So
no,
there are. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. There are. The way you would want the kit to sound doesn't generally happen, but it's not really a problem. If like you had your own kit, you could make sure the toms are tuned to exactly how you like them.
yeah, yeah,
But a lot of the sound comes from the snare drum and the breakables. So like your cymbals and things like that.
oh,
So
yeah, yeah.
yes. So like if you're
Bring your own. You always bring your own breakables to and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you do. I think there's only ever been one band we've played with that just sort of turned up and expected to use somebody else's breakables, and but everybody else sort of, it's like a golden rule really. Or if you can't do it, you usually email or phone someone and say, oh gosh, I mean, there's been times where someone's arrived and said, oh my god, I forgot my bass drum pedal, like can someone, and that's fair enough, but
Okay.
most drummers would go to a gig with all their own bits. And actually a lot of drummers, like I've offered before and I've said, oh, do you want to just use my cymbals? And they're like, no, because I've got my own sort of cymbals that I like,
Yeah, yeah,
so yeah, so it's kind of a bit like that really. Yeah, so yeah.
yeah. Lol Tolhurst of The Cure, he once said that all drummers are friends. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, I do. I do actually. Yeah, I think that's true. I think drummers have a certain like appreciation for each other,
Yeah,
because it's actually probably, if you're taking your own drum kit, it's one of the hardest instruments because you got to carry all the hardware. And I mean, my sister's said before, even the breakables, like her amp is heavier than my breakables, but she said your breakables are just so awkward, like they're awkward to carry because they poke out, like the bits of the cymbals and stuff. And so yeah, maybe there's like this like unspoken kind of appreciation for your fellow drummer or something.
yeah,
Or but yeah, I tend to all like, yeah, we sort of not make friends, but you know what I mean, like get on well with the other drummers. And well, most of the bands, really, a lot of them are very nice. We're very lucky. We always seem to play with like really nice bands, so we're very lucky in that way. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Next question is drumming heroes. Apart from your uncle who taught you how to play drums.
Oh yeah, drumming heroes. Yeah, yeah, definitely him.
Yeah,
Mitch Mitchell, I've always really loved, and admired. Pierre Van Linden, I think his name is, from Focus. I
from
really
Focus.
like.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Emmanuel Caplet, I think. I always say Capulet, but I don't think it's Capulet. I think, because I'm thinking of Romeo and Juliet.
Oh,
Emmanuel Caplet, who's a French Canadian drummer, and
oh,
she is incredible. Like, she's a session drummer, and she's an educator as well. She's been a drumming hero of mine for a long time. Like, I yeah, really really love her. She's just so stylish and so
yeah.
tasteful. And she started off as a marching band drummer, so
Ah,
the traditional grip and that sort of thing.
yeah.
Like people like Keith Carlock, Craig Blundell, who's recently done a lot of work with Matt Berry on his albums. But I saw Craig Blundell at it was about 20 years ago. It was at a really small village just near Huntingdon, but he did like a big drumming workshop, and he was on the rise then, and he was like really cool. So yeah, I've been a fan of his for a long time.
All right.
Yeah, people like older drummers like Clyde Butterfield, Bernard Purdie,
Yeah,
like Aretha Franklin's drummer, like those sorts of really cool, like groovy drummers that just
yeah,
keep a really
yeah,
nice groove going, but can
yeah,
also let go as well and then come back and know how to bring it back.
yeah.
Um, and obviously people like the guy who did Rosanna, so I've got drummer from Toto. I've forgotten his
So,
name.
is it Jeff? Is it Jeff?
Jeff, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's it, him. Because it's the Rosanna thing. I think a lot of drummers, like, that's the goal, to play Rosanna, and that is that is that sort of like and getting the bass drum in the right place. So yeah, people like that, really, I really admire. And I do admire like really heavy, fast drummers, but I never, like, for me, like, watching, I get like this with lots of instruments, actually, when I watch people playing instruments, and I just love watching people with soul play an instrument, like with
Yeah,
the soul in the instrument. And it's, for me, technicality, technical ability, it's all very impressive, but after about 2 minutes it becomes quite boring and just robotic. And although
yeah,
it's important, technical ability is important, it's not everything. And watching
yeah,
watching people with a lot of a love for it, and
yeah,
people
yeah,
become involved in it, almost like the
yeah,
music side of things as well. Yeah.
yeah. Do you
Who
do
are
you
your
get
sorry?
do you get starstruck? Do you get like have you met any of your drumming heroes and actually ask for photos and things like that? Or
Oh, the only time, so I used to write for this. I wasn't actually very good at it, but they kept me for a few months. But I had a go at being a drum writer, like writing for a drum magazine.
all right, what's it
It was
called?
based in it's called Drum with an exclamation mark. It was a very good magazine, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and they I wrote for them, and they actually employed me for a very short few months anyway, and then we parted ways. I think I just ran out of articles basically. I was like, but one of them was about Emmanuel Caplet, who I wrote about her and a couple of other really cool drummers that I like, and she read it and reposted it on her socials. So that was like a lovely moment, because she obviously, I wrote about her technique and her style and the way she plays it, and sort of really went into detail about how much, how inspiring it is. And so the fact she actually reposted the article was like, oh wow, that's really cool. But that's probably the only, I've not really met anybody, not really met any drumming heroes really of mine. I've met brilliant drummers, people I'm like, wow, you're like amazing, but not people that I've watched for years. And I don't know, I probably would be starstruck,
Yeah. But is that something? Because I think with musicians, I don't know if it's because you're a musician yourself, you don't want to ask for photos with your fellow musician, or is that something, or you will ask if you
Well,
did meet
I
one of
think
your hero.
we saw. Well, I say we. I didn't see. I wasn't at that gig, but Kerry and Kate met Gay Advert from the Adverts, and the bass player. Yeah, she was at one of the gigs, and I think they got a photo with her. I think they were like, "Can we have a photo, Gay?" Yeah. So yeah, that was. I definitely think like no one's too good for a photo, right? If someone's depends what the situation is. If someone's like massively stressed and they're about to go on stage, I wouldn't ask for a photo, obviously. But if they're like, and I say, do you mind? No, I would do that. I would ask for a photo, especially if someone meant a lot to you, in that way. Yeah, totally.
Okay. Final question now. Being a teacher, a drum teacher, what would be your advice to aspiring drummers or musicians in general?
Yeah, I would say my advice would be just to keep practicing and don't give up on yourself. Like if it becomes hard, I think that's why people don't play instruments, right? I think if everyone was asked, would you like to be a grade 8 violinist? Now I'll wave this wand and you can be it. That everyone would say yes. No one would say no, I don't want to do that, because it's cool, right? But people don't do it because it's really hard, and they think they can't do it, but you can. And that's what my biggest piece of advice would be, just to keep going. If you love it, just do it. Like don't and the process is everything. I think that's again something, especially these days where everything's very instant. We have everything instant. And I'm terrible for it. It's like I've ordered some slippers tonight, and I thought, why can't they come now? We want everything now these days. And actually, the most important thing about music is the process, because that's where a lot of your style comes from, and a lot of you learn when you're playing something or doing something. That's where you're then you start listening to other musicians. So when you're playing or learning an instrument, the process is the most important thing. And in the process has to be mistakes and not being able to do something for a time, because that's part of the process. So I would say that that's the biggest thing, really. And I think everything else would fall into place from that. Just don't give up. Like, keep going. If you love it. If you don't love it, then give it up, because what's the point? No one needs to play the piano to succeed in life, or the drums. But if you love it, don't let anyone tell you can't do it or you're not good, because again, I did singing lessons for a while with a little girl, and she was like, oh, I don't sound like Adele. And I was like, well, neither does Madonna, or neither does Kate Bush, and neither does Bjork. But why do you have to sound like someone? You sound like you, and that's great. Don't, it's like that thing people think that they're, because I don't know, because they're not doing what everyone else is doing, that they're somehow not as worthy or not as valuable. And actually everything, it's if you look at Keith Moon is an amazing drummer, and he didn't hold the sticks or sit like anybody, like I know of. He was completely unique, and he was in one of the best bands, that at the time in the world. So that's what my advice would be, just to trust the process, keep going, and don't give up, and just keep practicing.
I do agree with you. I think that's the trouble with me, because I just wanted to be the best drummer already after a week It's
Yeah,
like because I go.
it's hard. It's
You know,
true. It's
it
true.
is
Yeah.
hard. Yeah. You really have to, like you said, do go through the process of it and then learn fun things. And but yeah, no, it's. I
It's,
think I'm quite happy now, just interviewing awesome drummers like yourself. And
oh, well, you do. It's
so,
lovely. You do a great job as well. Thanks. It's been so lovely, like talking to you. It's been really fun. Yeah,
yeah,
I hope. I know. I probably, because my answers are quite long, I've probably pushed you right over. So sorry about that.
no, that's fine. I just love talking to drummers. I mean, I suppose being a frustrated drummer, the best thing is about not being a drummer, but the best thing is talking to drummers and finding out how they got into, how they became a drummer and how they got into it and everything. And so I'm doing actually the thing that I love the most as well. So
Yeah, right. It's yeah, like I say, you're really good at it. You've had the process, right? You've done the process. So that's starting it off and getting it, and what is it, 197 episode now? So
197 now for this one.
yeah,
So
that's wonderful. So cool. See, I would be the opposite. I do like a couple, like I did with the article. I gave it up because like really it wasn't in there. Like really, like I just did it for 3 or 4 months maybe, and then thought, oh, I don't know what to write about now, and then
yeah.
just didn't. And then they'd say, have you got an article? And I say, sorry, I can't think of what to write about. So yeah, but yeah, so you see, you're still going, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I really hope that I'll see you in the baby seals again someday. And
I hope to
because
meet you again, Anne.
you're gonna be doing gigs again in the UK. You said for this year, so I look forward to that. Hopefully,
I hope we might come
Manchester, Liverpool, or
to Liverpool. We might come up to Stockport even. That would be like
Stockport.
Stockton.
Yeah,
Stockton.
there's a
Yeah,
really
or Stockport.
good there's a really good live music venue in Stockport called the Spinning Top,
The
and
spinning
they do
top.
a lot of punk bands in there.
Oh,
It's
cool.
brilliant. It's a brilliant live music venue, and I'm only like 10-minute walk from there as well. So I go to that
Hey,
one.
we'd have to. That would be great if we did come up there and got a gig there. We'd have to like meet
Yeah.
up for a drink or something beforehand.
Well, yeah, I'll message the owner, Mike, and then tell him check out this band, the Baby Seals, and if you can get them at the Spinning Top, that would be amazing. So,
Amazing. And whilst we were chatting, actually, I was thinking about some other women drummers who I know who I think you'd get on really well with as well. So maybe I'll forward them your names. Is the idea, because I think the idea of the podcast is you see the band, don't you? You see the band first and then have the drummer on, or does it?
no, sometimes I've had guests from America that I've not seen
Ah,
because they contacted me and they wanted to like do the podcast. I said yeah, and then I just Googled them and find out about them, and then I could ask them questions, and then yeah. But most of
oh,
the times it's the bands I've seen, and I go up to them and then I'll talk to them and ask them if they'd be interested to do the podcast and things like that. But yeah, but any drummer, I'd talk to any drummer and just find out about them and.
amazing. I do. I know a few. Well, quite a few women because of the scene.
Yeah.
Obviously, the feminist punk scene. There's loads of drummers I know that are women and that would love to
Yeah.
come on. I'm sure we'll have a good old chat. So I can
Oh,
send
yeah.
you their
Yeah.
names if you like and their band and
Well,
yeah.
that would be great. Yeah, that would
It might not burp as much as I do as well. I don't know what's wrong with me tonight. I'm really burpy, so I'm very sorry about that.
Well, thank you so much, Amy. I really enjoyed every single minute of it. And as Aiden said, it's riveting conversation and lots of great insights, he said. So
Oh,
thank you
thank you.
very,
Oh, thanks to
very
Aidan, who's working in the background there. Thanks, Aidan, and thanks, Anne, for having me on. It's been lovely having a chat, and I'm really sorry it's gone right over. But,
well. Yeah, take care always, and then enjoy the rest of the weekend and the evening. It's nearly sleeping time. Although I don't really go to sleep until after midnight, but it's just me.
you don't, to be fair, you seem like the sort of person that would be a night owl. Like you sort of come alive at night, creative mind and all that, perhaps. So you've got that sort of vibe about you. So, lots of great people. The best
Yeah.
minds come alive at night time. So
Still
yeah.
got a lot of drummers to message and ask if they would love to come to, because I've been
Oh,
it's like drummers that I've met from last year that I still haven't messaged, so I'll try and do it tonight if I can.
have you ever seen the menstrual cramps?
I've heard of the name, but no, I haven't. No,
They're
but
very good. AJ Murdoch. She's an amazing drummer. She's so good. I actually learn. I'll watch her sometimes, learn a thing or two because she's a brilliant punk drummer. See, I
oh,
always
right,
think I'm
yeah.
not. I always think I'm not a fantastic punk drummer because I'm so light and I get that funky vibe going on. Whereas AJ's just a machine all over the drums. She's incredible. So well, that was one of the names I was going to forward to you anyway. So yeah, you
Thank
yeah,
you
and she's
so much.
okay. Thank you, Anne. It's been really nice. And
Yeah.
thanks for doing this podcast. It's really great.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm really grateful. Thank you very much. All right, see you, Amy.
Much love.
Bye.
Take care.
Yeah, you.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, thank you so much to Amy Devine for guesting on Ask the Drummer. I really enjoyed it. I was sometimes I'm worried that I haven't got much to ask them or anything, especially if there's not much information on Google or something. Because, but she was just so amazing. I love chatting to her, and thank you so much for doing this. It's so much fun this evening. But I'm gonna be back next week, and it's gonna be another late one next week because the Saturday before Ask the Drummer, I'm actually gonna be in Glasgow for what I call the reunion of the century. Friends again after over 30 years. I'm gonna be playing again, friends again. They're all friends again. But this is in Glasgow, so I'll be there and I'll be staying the night. So I won't be back until Sunday afternoon. But do keep an eye on the on the Astrodrama Facebook page for the guest announcement post. Hopefully, it'll be there tomorrow. I just need to reconfirm with our guest. But that's it for me for now. And I just want to say I've been posting about 10 years of Mick Had for the last 10 days because on this day, exactly 10 years ago, I first saw Mick Had live in Manchester. And it was the most amazing thing. I've been following him since. And I've done 97 Mick Had gigs in 10 years. So I'm hoping that they'll announce some gigs for this year. So it will be like 100. I'd love to have like 100 gigs, maybe more for the next 10 years. But yeah, like it's just so like to say that because I'm wearing a Michael Had hoodie. But enjoy for the people in the UK. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It's nearly 9 o'clock. And for our dear friends in Manila, I think a lot of you will be waking up now because it's Monday morning. And you'll be all going to work. So, good morning to you all in the Philippines. So, that's it for me. As always, love music, love life, love drummers. They're absolutely amazing and they're so cool. We've seen Amy Devine. She's so lovely. And she really is so cool. And you've got to, if you haven't heard of the Baby Seals, check out their socials. And they'll be doing some gigs this year and hopefully the second album as well. So check them out on Facebook. I think they're also on Instagram. I'm not sure about Twitter, but forget about Twitter. But yeah, so that's it. Thank you very much. See you all again next week. Bye for now. Bye.